we're inviting people who perhaps are in their later stages, in their 50s or 60s, in the workplace to change, this is a social threat. And a social threat is treated by the brain almost in the same way as a physical threat is. The same neural connections light up. So, you know, it's almost like threatening to punch somebody in the face when you do this. A lot of people over a long period of time have got used to coming to work, sitting in the same desk, doing all the stuff they do. Maybe they have an office, or maybe they have a cube or something like that. And what we know is that from our research that A, that's very inefficient from a space utilization standpoint, but B, it's encouraging people to do the same things in the same environment. So it's, from a productivity standpoint, it's not brilliant either. So the move to an activity-based model is really all about providing a palette of different places so that people can choose the right place and they can be the most productive they can be. So the move to an agile model of working isn't just about designing space in a different way. Space is one component, but actually what's most important, the technology is very important to free people to do what they need to do, but increasingly it's about getting people to build new competences, to become comfortable with not just the technical side of using these tools, but the business side. How do you use these tools in order to make your business process more effective? But there's a third element to it, which is really associated with the change. So we know that when people have been working in a particular model for a long period of time, that they find it very difficult. Those behaviours become neurally engraved in their brains, and it takes a conscious effort to make the shift to the new world. So the only way this works is if people are engaged in the process. So in the typical design process, there is a lot of data collection, a lot of data that guides the design. But then as we go forward, we're involving people more and more in part of the design process, but involving them more and more in the behavioural change side. And so it's a cooperative effort. You know, you need to bring your HR people along, your technology people need to start designing to a different kind of model. And space, of course, has to be designed in a different way as well. So agile working for me is really giving people the opportunity, people and organisations the opportunity to rethink how they work and where they work and when they work. And that mobility is very useful and powerful. So in effect what we're doing is we're giving people technology and we're providing people with networking capabilities that allow them to be free. You know, that they can choose broadly anywhere that they can work, in a room, out of the room, on a floor, in a cafe, at home, whatever. You can work anywhere in many cases. And, you know, when you think about an organisation, it's really a network of brains, you know, in a sense. And so what we're trying to do with the technology is connect those brains together. Tools like Teams and Slack and things like that do that very well. So we're in effect, we're giving people that opportunity to work anywhere, and we're providing a workplace that has a variety of different sorts of place so that people can be effective in the particular tasks that they perform over a week, for instance. No longer do many people sit in the same desk and do the same stuff. Many times we're in meetings, we're on calls, we're in video calls, we're in workshops, we're out seeing clients, whatever. There's a variety of different things that we do. And our approach is to say, well, an activity-based workplace or an agile workplace really needs to have lots of those different places so that I can be mobile and I can choose those so that I can be the best I can be. So, if we're inviting people who perhaps are in their later stages, in their 50s or 60s, in the workplace to change, and there's some status orientation around what they have been given, officers or PAs or whatever else, then that requires a great deal of sensitivity and a very conscious campaign to help people to come to terms with that. Those people when you start to encourage those people to move into a different model of working, you have to be very careful, because a lot of the things that we're talking about could be seen to be quite threatening. So if I'm losing my office, is this an indication to everybody else that I'm losing my status? What will it be like for me? I don't know what it's going to be like. And it doesn't seem fair. I've been, working in Indian industry for 20, 30 years, and I've made my way through the hierarchy, and I've got my office now, and I've got all the trappings that go with it, and you want me to give it up? It's a very uncomfortable thing that you ask me to do. So there are ways there are strategies to deal with this. A lot of people in the real estate world and the facilities world just see us being, people being obstinate or intransigent. But in fact, I think what we know from our research around the sort of neuroscience around the whole topic, this is a social threat. And a social threat is treated by the brain almost in the same way as a physical threat is. The same neural connections light up. So, it's almost like threatening to punch somebody in the face when you do this. And so we shouldn't be surprised. We have to be very careful and sensitive about the words we use, about the way in which we introduce the idea. And most importantly, we need to be clear with people about why we want them to do it. It can't just be about using space in a more efficient way. What excites me about India is it's fresh. There's a lot of very bright people in India. There is an opportunity to start with a new model. You don't have to just do what everybody else did in the world. And the idea of using technology and evolving to new models of management and new models of competence and behaviour, is the thing. You don't have all the baggage and legacy that certainly we do, and certainly in other parts of the world you have. So I think that it's a great time to be doing these sorts of things in India, and to some degree, I think there are less barriers actually because of that, and the opportunities there to be got at, really.